Hi everyone, myself Dr. M. Lakshmi Prasad, working as an associate professor in the Department of Data Science in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in this video, I'm going to discuss about principles of data presentation, that is efficiency principle I'm going to discuss. So in previous video, I discussed about clarity principle. So clarity is one of the way of representing the data presentation. So similarly, what should be the efficiency principle, that one I can able to discuss in this video. So when it comes to efficiency, so what should be considered when going to be presenting the data, so according to the efficiency, so that one you have to be considered first. So for that, what you have to do, so make sure the data what we are going to be seen, right? So what is the data are going to be shown to the presentation, so that one we have to be make clear, and then the focus on the points of the data what are going to be illustrated, and share one and only one major point from the each chart. So this is one you have to be considered, and then label chart components clearly and visualize the highlight of aha zones. Suppose what is some charts is having some special features, that one I can able to present it very clearly. We will have to highlight it, and then write slide title that enforces the data point and present to our audience, not about the data. So these are the things we have to be considered when you're going to presenting the data here. So very first one is that, so make sure so what the data is going to be presented, and that one have to be considered. So the data what we are going to be shown are going to be presented in the form of presentation. So we have to be very clearly make sure what kind of data we're presenting, whether it is a whole thing is there or not, or some data is missing or not. That one have to be very clear, and they focus on most of the points of the data what are going to be illustrated. So focus on the main points of the data, and that one is only have to be concentrated to present our data. So remaining left, some points may not have that much preference, so what you have to do, how to leave it, and then focus on the main points only. So share one and only major point from the each chart. Suppose if I'm going to get one information from one chart, and similarly I can able to get one information other chart, so share only what is the major content that is available from the chart. That one only have to be presented, and label all the chart components very clearly and then easily also, and then here visualize and highlight the aha zones what you are having, and then write the slide title so that enforces the data point, and present your audience, not your data. So what we are going to present should be the presentation should be the audience, not the data. So the data can be presented either in the form of text I can able to present, or I can able to present in the form of table, or I can able to present the graph. So what is the best one? So text is best, or tabular is best, or graph is best. That one I have to be think it of. So what is the best way? So a data can be presented in different forms, but we have to be thinking of in what we are going to present it. That should be easiest way, so that the audience can able to understand very clearly. And next one should be how to make a good presentation. So for that, what I have to do is, so create easy to follow structure, and when it comes to how what we have to say, so then we have to break it out into three simple sections, so that the presentations needs an introduction, body, and conclusion, right? And limit the amount of copy of each slide, and we know how with the design details, and then polish the several items. So these are the things what to be we have to be followed to make a good presentation. So first one should be, so create an easy to follow structure. So what is the presentation I'm going to present it, so try to follow one structure, a simple structure you take it, that's one you have to be follow. Don't follow this uncomplicated structures and all to make that data presentation. And suppose in order to make the structure to be clear, so what I have to do, how to be break it down into different sections, make it clear. Suppose try to make it as introduction as one section and body as another section, conclusion as another section. So like this, so that what will happen, the data what we are presenting should be clearly understood. If you are going to make it into different sections, and limit the amount of copy on each slide. So what is the data presenting, don't put it in entire thing. So try to make it as some content of the copy of the each slide. And we know how the design details, so design of this presentation also very important, so that one also have to be considered. And polish the several items also, so that means make use of the highlight of the items. And next one, show what are the 7 key principles of effective data visualization. So for that, what you have to do is, so we're having 7 key principles. So first one is that determine the best visual, balance the design, and focus on the key areas. Keep it simple, and then incorporate interactivity and use patterns. So these are the 7 principles what we have to be follow for the effective data visualization. So very first one is that determine the best visual. So since we're having different types of visuals like graphs, charts and all, so which visual is the best one for presenting the data we have to be identified. And then balance the design, so design should also be balanced, and then focus on the key areas only. Since the data what I'm getting some like from primary or secondary source, so the huge amount data may comes, so unrelated data may also come, and then some missing data may also become. So try to focus on the key areas, so according to the application try to, and then extract that kind of data. And next one is to keep it simple, so make the presentation should be effective. So for that, what I make it simple here. And next one, incorporate interactivity, and then use patterns also. So these are some of the 7 key principles of effective data visualization. So for the first one is that determine the best visual. So for that, to begin with, so what you have to do is, so it is imperative to understand the volume of data in hand. So in order to make that better visualization, so first of all you have to understand how much volume of data is having in our hand, and then you may identify the aspects that may wish to visualize along the information that you wish to convey. So once that volume of data is identified, you have to identify the aspects. So important aspects you have to be identified, and then make that visualization along with the information along with the wish to want to convey. After this, you may select the best suited and simplest visual format for your target audience. So once we decided this best visual, so what you have to do, have to be identify or select the best suited and simplest visual format from your target audience. So these are the things you have to be understood for determining the best visual. And second one is that balance the design. So for balancing the design, so this should be refers to the equally distributed visual elements across the plot, such as in the texture is there, suppose color and shape and negative space is avoided. So that one have to be identified, and that to be make it balance it. So if you are having more text and some text is going to be missed, so what you have to do, try to incorporate or adjust the size of the text and make it color, or adjust the shape, adjust the negative shape. So these three kind of things we have to be follow for balancing the design. Then we may able to select the visual to be asymmetrical one, or it should be asymmetrical or radial. That one you have to identify and figure out the right balance of elements that work best for visualizing your data, right? So these things will have to be understood for balancing the design. So whether Visual should be in symmetrical form or symmetrical form or a radial form have to be identified and figure out the right balance of the elements that may work for the visualization of the data. And next one is that focus on the key areas. Uh, Third one is that focus on the key areas. So for that, what you have to do, so ensure that key areas are going to be well hidden. Suppose if I'm going to present some data, so I want to make it as a highlight, or I want to make it as a key important area. So for that, what you have to do, you have to make it as a highlighted of the text. And you may also place some key data points towards the left corner so that the user may able to get attention generally drawn towards the quadrant. Suppose this is the points I'm presenting. So I want to make it as stress or how to concentrate more on the data points. So make it as left side, write it something about that point so that the user may get attention. What is this one and what is this meant for? That one I can able to understand. So focus on the key areas of the data presentation. And fourth principle is that keep it simple. So keep it simple means ensure that all the visuals are going to be simple and then easily understood, and then adding unwanted information if you want to make it so that what will happen, it may leads to the confusion or it may able to defeat the purpose of visualization also. So keep in mind that ultimate goal data visualization is simplicity, but what you have to do, you have to be build additional visuals if you want to convey additional story if I want to add it. So, right, suppose I want to present the data. So for that, what I'm going to do, I have to present actually. Suppose if I want to add some more information, so instead of that, what I have to do, I have to build some separate additional visuals I can able to add it to the text. So instead of expanding the text, so all the time what I have to do, so all the time the text should be visualization should be simple one only. So ensure that, so for what we have to do, so ensure that whatever the visuals we are having, that should be make it simple and then easy to understand. So instead of extending the content of the presentation, add additional visuals so that if we want to convey the additional information to the slide. So keep in mind all the time the goal of the data visualization should be simplicity. So if you are going to add something to the unwanted information you want to slide, so what will happen? This may lead to the confusion and that may also defeat the purpose of the visualization also. That is the problem. And next one is that incorporate interactivity. So for that, what you have to do, so how to deploy the data visualization tools are available, right? So that may infuse interactivity to graphs or charts. So for that, we have to ensure that this may not confuse the data to the audience, since the main purpose is to clarify the doubts and then curious. So incorporate interactivity. So incorporate interactivity means, so make use of some visualization tools. So some doubts may able to clarify through that, or some queries what the audience is going to be asked, that one is going to be clarified. So that should be incorporate interactivity. So interactivity is going to be established by making use of or by making deploying some data visualization tools that should be incorporated to the graphs and charts so that the confusion may be avoided. And then next one is that use patterns. So by make use of these patterns also, you have to make this data presentation should be very effective. So for that, what we have to make display the similar types of informations like one with the help of the patterns. And we may also establish a pattern by using similar chart types or colors or any other elements, right? So use patterns. Suppose if I want to make the information to be very clear, instead of in the form of text, or I have to make it the presentation of the information in the form of diagram. So for that, what you have to do, you have to make use of this patterns. So if you want, in order to make this establishment of patterns, so you can able to make use of some simple chart types or colors or any other element, I can able to use it here. And next one is that compare aspects. So compare aspects also make the data presentation should be very effective. So it may also display the side by side comparison of the aspects of data in order to make the presentation comparison should be very easier. And you may also align data either in horizontal or vertically so that it can be compared accurately. So if I'm going to make the comparison of presentation of data, so what will happen, you can able to present the data either in the form of horizontally or in the form of vertical. I can able to present it, right? So alignment of data is also important. So it may also lead to this side by side comparison of aspects what I'm going to be uh, compare in order to make the comparison between the data. So what will happen, so the comparison should be very easy. So these are the principles, these are the things you have to be remembered for implementing the effectiveness of the data. So an efficiency principle, so what you have to be considered, so that should be make sure the data should be clean, very make sure that the data can be seen very clearly, and focus on the points what the data is going to be illustrated, and share one and only major point of the each chart. And then labels chart should be properly allocated, and then visualize that aha zones, and write down the slide title which may lead to the data point, and present to the audience, not the data. So how to make the good presentation, create an easy to follow structure, and then divide this body of the text into three different sections so that the presentation should be very clear and understood, like the introduction, body, and conclusion, and limit the amount of copy of each slide, and we know how to going to deal with the design details, and then polish the several items of the presentation. So there are the 7 key principles available for effective of the data visualization. So first one should be the determine the best visual and balance the design, and focus on the key areas, keep it simple, and then incorporate interactivity and use patterns. So these 7 key principles will have to be followed. So determine the best visual, balance the design, focus on the key areas, keep it simple, incorporate interactivity, and use patterns. So determine the best visual. So how to determine the best visual? Suppose if you're having a large amount of data in your hand, so identify the key aspects, make it a visualization so that the best visual can be obtained. And balance the design. So balance the design in the sense, what you have to do. So balance means, so in order to make the design very clear, so some of the visual elements I can able to consider, like texture and then color, shape, and negative space. That one is going to be handled, and so that the what will happen, the design should become balanced. Or I can able to make the design should be a symmetrical form or asymmetrical form or radial form. And then focus on the key areas. So focus on the key areas means, so ensure that the key areas are available, then make use of this highlighting the text, or I can able to place some key data points to the left corner of the presentation, and then so that what will happen, they will make and some attention to the users. And keep it simple, so keep it simple also very good. So whatever the visuals are presentation, that should be in simple, and so that easily understand by the users. And then adding unwanted information make it a confusion, so which may also defeats the purpose of data visualization. So for that, keep in mind that all the time the goal of the data visualization should be simple only. Suppose if you want to convey some additional information, add some additional visuals. And fifth one, so incorporate interactivity. So how to make it, so in order to make deploy or data visualization tools, I can able to use in order to make interaction with the charts and graphs, and then so that the confusion may not takes place by the target audience. So the main purpose is to clarify the doubts and queries of the audience only. And use patterns. So use patterns is also important. Suppose if I want to make the text highlighted, so I can able to represent either in form of patterns, or I can able to represent with a different color, right? So using of patterns is the best one. Suppose if I'm going to display the similar items of information, so that what will happen, it may look unique one. So if I'm going to use different kinds of patterns, so it will make some difference among the text. So right, so I can able to use this pattern of similar chart types or similar colors and then other elements. And then compare aspects. So the compare aspects also going to be good. Suppose if I want to make the side by side comparison of the data, so what will happen? So I can able to make the comparison should be either in the form of horizontally, or I can able to represent the form of vertically, right? So it may be compare very accurately also. So the comparison just now I said, right? So instead of drawing the two diagrams, so simple bar, that one it should be represented in single diagram as multiple bar. So which makes that comparison should be very clear. And this one again is going to be represented in the form of three-dimensional bar. So which makes the comparison, I can know how much difference also is going to be identified very clearly. So these things are very important. So try to know these aspects of the 7 principles of efficiency. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.